All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you guys want to grab a seat, there's also some drinks in the back too. If you all want to grab a drink before all the presentations, but get started right now. All right. Yeah, welcome to the February 2023 No Code NYC Meetup. Very happily to be sponsored by Glide. You'll hear from the head of content, Rae, a little later in this meetup. But yeah, thank you to them for sponsoring. Who here has heard of Glide? I'm sure everyone here has used Glide or heard of Glide. Yeah, figured. Yeah, so super happy to have them sponsor the meetup, and they'll be presenting later. So the agenda for today, quick introductions, no code news and updates. We did the same thing last month. Some new things for this month. I want to talk about co-working day through NomadWorks, LinkedIn group, call for volunteers, and then we're going to have two presentations, one from Abdul Ramirez. He's sitting right here in the front. He came to our last meetup and got talking to him, and he has a really interesting use case about how he used no-code tools into his startup that was using regular code. So I think it's an interesting use case of how no-code can integrate with code. And then, of course, our rep from Glide will be doing a presentation on redefining the term no-code. And you'll hear from her hopefully soon. She's like running a little bit late. Okay, some quick introductions. My name is Al. I'm a solutions architect at Coda. Eric, he's developer community lead at Prismic. John here in the front, he's an app builder, bubble coach. That's what I got from her LinkedIn. Or there's anything else that you should?
That's
okay.
I build on no code, freelancing, work.
Yeah. So just three people that are interested in no code and the community here. So that's who we are. And on to some no code news and updates. Few things that me and John kind of picked out from the world of no code in the last month or two. Humil.io raised $10.8 million, Series A. I thought this was interesting. Basically, what their platform does is it's like a no-code Looker or no-code Tableau, where you have a bunch of data in Snowflake or some database, and you can build these really fancy BI dashboards on top of your database. And so I haven't seen too many of these type of companies come out in the no-code space. So apparently that you can use no-code to build your dashboards now. But I feel like Looker and Tableau and all this stuff are kind of no-code already, but they do it in a different way. Haven't played around with the tool yet, but just an interesting company to be aware of. This was something I saw on Twitter, actually. Maybe I'll just bring up the tweet. So it is a personalized trip planner in combining Bubble and GPT. Yeah, pretty. Maximize this. Yeah, let's watch the animation. So yeah, this generates a really detailed itinerary for you based on a prompt of a few inputs.
What was that built on?
Bubble.
That was Bubble?
This is Bubble.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So the URL is getaway, but it's like AIway.com. It's kind of cute. So check it out. I came across this article on this website called Simple Thread, 20 things I've learned in my 20 years as a software engineer. And the reason I brought this up was actually like I think a lot of these things apply to people that are using no-code tools. So even if you're not a developer and doing full-time dev work 24/7, I think some of these things. Oh crap! I think I lost the. Yeah, some of these things I think apply to if you're doing agency work, if you're in a company building with no-code tools. All these things. I'm thinking about this from a lens of spreadsheets because I come from a finance spreadsheets background. And a lot of these things I thought of, like applied to me when I was like building models and dashboards in Excel back when I first started working as a financial analyst. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna read everything off, but I just thought it was interesting to how it can also apply to people who work with no code tools. Yeah. Anything resonate with anybody here?
Something really funny on the previous.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Right.
What was the previous one?
Definitely the why enough stands out because
Every system eventually sucks.
Oh, nobody asked why enough?
Yeah.
I call that out because like I'm constantly doing that with clients because like they want a new feature, but I'm like, well, why do you want that feature? And like it's not an argument, but it's like pushing back on what they're asking for because like you just extended our development time to like another month because you want this feature that's probably not that important to the problem you're solving. So
Right.
number 9 definitely stands out to me.
Yeah. Yeah, every system eventually sucks. That's a good one. Yeah, I'll send this the slide deck out too afterwards, so you'll see the full list if you want to. I think I skipped a slide here. This was kind of cool. Has anyone ever seen levels.fyi?
No.
It's I think it's like a database of companies that have done layoffs and stuff. And what was interesting is this article talks about how the entire website was built using Google Sheets as a backend. So they kind of go through like the architecture, like version 0 to version 1, and version 0 was literally just like a Google form that populates a Google Sheet. And then this architecture was how the website actually displays information from the Google Sheet. So I would take a look through this this article to see how like you can build a pretty functional website using Google Sheets as your database. I think eventually once this website started getting like millions of views per month or something, they had to figure out a way to reduce the time that would take to fetch the data from Google Sheets. It's already pretty performant, I think, for a regular website, but this website was like getting millions of views per month, I think. And that's why they had to start using other AWS tools to show the data on the website. Yeah.
Anyone happen to know like what do you push Google Sheets to the limit? Like when does it start to like really dry?
I mean, I think it depends on the amount of formulas you're using, the amount of data, number of columns.
It's like a row count too. Like after like I think 100,000 rows, you need Excel. It's just working super sluggish after that.
Oh no, you need a database after 100,000 rows.
Yeah.
Like a.
Would you consider Excel like no code?
I mean, that's my bias because that's where I come from. We just didn't call it that back in 2007 or whatever when I first started using it a lot.
So I know of a game somebody made on Google Sheets. They made a full-fledged like dungeon crawler game, and it was all like the Excel, the sheets.
Yeah. Chances are they use VBA or Google. Oh no, but so Google Sheets has Google Apps Script, which is like their version of like scripting. So yeah.
I'll see. I have it.
Yeah.
That site is large. What that site's used for is like looking at pay or like figuring if you're.
Oh, pay. That's right. Yeah, it wasn't layoffs. Yeah.
There's layouts on that.
Okay. Okay. I was thinking of layoffs at FYI. So levels at FYI is more for salary ranges and bands.
Yeah, like if you got a software engineer too, what could you make in Datadog if you got a similar? So you have to answer questions like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize it became kind of the de facto website for that kind of information. I thought Glassdoor was for that, but maybe.
I think this one, I don't know. I think I want for tech people. I would trust this more.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm
Cool.
not sure why, but
All right. So let's see. We'll do this. This one actually I just posted in my company internal Slack actually. So Grid is kind of like a new spreadsheet. Not new. I mean, they've been around for like 2 years or so. Just kind of like a newer way of visualizing spreadsheet data and modeling. And I think what was cool was this is the first spreadsheet company I've seen that uses GPT-3 to help you create formulas. So in this, I captured this from a video that they showed of this feature. So you basically write / and you write, I want the number of values in column B larger than 8. So it's taking like a simple sentence that you would want to create a formula for, and it automatically creates a countif formula off of column B. And so this video goes through different examples of how you can just write in plain English what you want from your data, and then it automatically creates the formula. And the reason why I think this is important, at least for me, is because when I was learning Excel and Google Sheets, like the first thing you do to learn how to do something is Google how to use a VLOOKUP. How do you do an index match? How do you do, like a nested if statement or something? And you're just reading like, here's the inputs you need for a function with the VLOOKUP formula. And now with this, like I can imagine you just use the AI to help you create the formula. You'll never have to go to like a formulas page ever again to see the inputs, to see the outputs, to see how you can put things together. This just helps you do it on the fly. So I don't know, might not really teach you might not help you learn the formulas, but it might save you time as you're building a complicated model. So I thought that was an interesting kind of way to approach spreadsheets. Yep. And then John, this is you.
Yeah,
I think. So
just to get an idea of like who's in the room. Oh, sorry.
yeah, can't walk away from it.
Oh, got you. Like who's building on no code today? Yeah, Bubble mostly or Glide or what tools are we using? Bubble? Anyone else? Webflow? Gotcha. So everyone else on Dan, I know you're a software engineer, but anyone else in the room is like, what's that? Oh, okay. I didn't hear that one. Is everyone else in the room just like kind of getting into it and seeing like what tools are out there and what you can do, that kind of deal? More or less?
I built a tool called Micro, so I use it myself, but I mean, it's my platform.
Okay, cool. So like testing out a new startup idea type of deal?
No, I mean, my company is Micro and it's comparable to Flow or Bubble.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so that gives me an idea. My name is John Mello. I've been building on Bubble and other no-code tools too since about 2017. I'm mostly doing freelance and agency work, like some coaching too. Like I started originally, I was an HR consultant, so I really didn't have any technical background, but kind of like Al too, I had a good basis in Excel because, like the compensation analysis stuff that I had to do. And that really, I think, helped me kind of go into the, some of the logic needed, like if-else statements in Bubble, which makes things more complicated. So some of the things that like, because all of my income comes from this stuff, I'm kind of interested in knowing what some of the trends are and what's happening and how people are like, what they're calling themselves. So like 45% of people are calling themselves an entrepreneur in the no code space, right? So and that I think speaks a lot to like the no code's marketing of like build the next startup MVP and like they're selling a dream a little bit. But I think there's a lot of other applications for it as well, specifically in like small businesses and like a lot of industries that haven't even heard of no code yet. There's a lot of opportunities to create like custom software. So this was one of the trends that I kind of found interesting. Mostly entrepreneurial. And I think that speaks a lot to the current marketing of no code, right? So in the same vein, like a lot of them are saying that they're technology companies, whereas like these verticals, like, I don't know if you can see it, but government, nonprofit, manufacturing, Web3 finance, those are all like very underrepresented as far as like the no code tools go, right? I think there's a lot of opportunities in some of these other things that aren't necessarily tech companies where you can apply like, use custom software.
Do you know what education stands out?
Say again?
Education was large on that graph.
Yeah, third. There's a lot of like e-learning tools, and maybe they're considering themselves like educational, but I don't think education in terms of like the Department of Education in New York City is like using no-code tools. I'm pretty sure that's not happening. Yeah.
The original no-code tool was Scratch, which is no-code tool.
Scratch?
Yeah.
It's
Wow, cool. I never even heard of that one.
I think it's longer than 10 years. Yeah, it's probably like 15.
You said it's one dude
Yeah.
that like runs the whole thing? Oh, wow.
And
That's pretty impressive.
In the UK, that's how they introduce children to coding in the and all their STEM curriculums.
Nice. Yeah.
NYC DOE does it too.
Oh, yeah?
Do it here, right here. In the schools, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Good to know. Also, the skill levels is something that I find kind of interesting. A lot of people are saying that they're like
no code experts or bubble experts, but there really isn't any definition of what an expert is. You know, it's kind of like the Wild West now as far as like freelancers or Go, and you know, you've been doing it for a while and you built an app. I guess you could technically call yourself an expert, but it's not really like, there's no certification. There's like AirDev has their own certification, but there's no like universally accepted certification for any of this stuff. Like, whereas in, you know, traditional software engineering, there's a lot of certifications that will verify you in this specific area, like I know database structure, and I know, you know, React or whatever, but that doesn't really exist yet. So
Should there be?
yeah, there should be, because you really don't know what you're getting when you're hiring, you know, different people. It's
If it
tough.
doesn't exist, that's why we build your next.
Exactly. And I should mention that like these stats came from a study done by Doc Williams. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him. He's on Twitter quite a bit. He's got a pretty big YouTube audience. And he partnered with the University of Calgary to do this survey of this, you know, up and coming space. So that's where all this stuff comes from. So again, just stuff that I kind of find interesting that I think are happening in the space. I pay attention to this because obviously like I'm pretty invested in the whole community and everything. So that's what I thought was kind of relevant for this one. All right. So Al, should intro Abdul, or you got a few more?
All right, so a few quick things before we get into Abdul's presentation. So again, we're here at Nomad Works. It's co-working space / private offices. My office is actually here on the 4th floor. So one thing I think we're gonna start doing is doing co-working here for just this community. And the Nomad Works team is giving everyone here like a discount. I think it's $20. I'll double check. But what I'm gonna do is like in between our meetups, I'll post on the meetup page for co-working here, and it'll probably be on a Thursday because there's like a happy hour afterwards on Thursdays too. And sometimes they have snacks. So kind of get your bang for your buck if you come on a Thursday. So it'd just be a good way for all of us to kind of work together on different projects we're working on and just share some good vibes. So keep a lookout on the meetup page for that. LinkedIn group, started this, I think, after the last meetup. I feel like there's a better way for everyone to keep in touch instead of the meetup.com. So just look up no code NYC on LinkedIn and join the group. I think there's only like a few folks in there, but hopefully we can get people from the meetup.com page into the LinkedIn group for just better conversations instead of like using the chat option or comment feature in the meetup page. So join the group if you can. And then finally, call for volunteers. Yeah, this meetup is totally just blood, sweat, and tears from myself, Eric, and John here. So if you want to help with the programming, helping with finding sponsors, helping with anything at all, just come talk to me or John. And pretty, you know, casual, low-key thing. Or eventually, I think I mentioned this last month, is we want to eventually turn this meetup into a conference similar to what Webflow does with the No Code Conf on the West Coast. And so if you want to take part in that, definitely reach out to me and John and Eric, and hopefully can have some more folks plan meetups for us. And now we're going to move on to this presentation by Abdul Ramirez, the CEO of Brokerloop, and he's going to talk to us all about how he uses no code and his company. So Abdul, thank you for watching.
Present. Yeah, I think I've been present.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's been running. I'd have to. Yeah, awesome. Slide here, so I can put it back. So. Nice. Can I close yours out or just slide it back?
Yeah, sorry.
I'm clumsy, so you know, I'm like trying to be extra careful. No, seriously, I really got you. Let me just move this one. Let's just do the present. It's not that big deal. Hey, how's everyone doing? Nice to meet you guys. My name's Abdul. Thank you guys for inviting me here today. And I've been to a couple of these, and I think community is great. I would like to see, more of this, more people come out, be involved and stuff. One thing I've noticed is we haven't really seen too many people show product off. We get a lot of questions like what no code could do, talk about a theory, things like that. And I think it'll be really nice that everyone show up what they're working on, even if it's early stage or wherever they are, so we can actually feed off each other. So I'm a founder of a company called Broker Loop. We're a social network and a suite of marketing tools for real estate professionals. Right now, we're focused on real estate brokerages and agents. And I just want to just share like my journey into no code. So my product is kind of like a hybrid. We started with a full just native code. I had a co-founder and had a co-founder dispute in about like 2019, 2020. And that kind of led me down to, I was already no code curious, let's say that. We were using Webflow. We did some cool things with Webflow, and we integrated into our software. So I got really, really comfortable with Webflow. But then I came across this app called Bubble. And I was like, man, Bubble seems really cool. So I showed it to my co-founder, and he's like, that's garbage. He literally said it was garbage. He's like, well, don't look for what it is today. Like, really like, let's get into it. Let's see what it has. And I really studied it. I went through the forum, and I don't know, I had like a little gut feeling, because not saying it was garbage, it was very early. Even in 2020, like compared to what it is today, it was very early. So I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to build our social network using Bubble, and we're going to validate this, because he did not want to build a social network. He's like, no, we're just going to do stick with marketing tools, and we're going to grow this way. And I'm like, that's going to be really hard to do. So I said, I'm going to build the MVP, and if it's garbage, it's garbage, nothing lost. So I went down this journey with Bubble, and kept on, Bubble's really, really challenging at that time. That's probably a good word. So I got pretty good with it, tore up the forums. I did join a course, which helped a little bit. And I was doing it pretty much every day. So, I guess like my advice would be like, if you have an idea, if you want to really make a reality and for a product, you got to like dedicate yourself to it. Like I put like a crazy amount of hours into it, a crazy amount of hours. And I just wanted to kind of like show off like what I built. And we integrated basically the full stack between our native code and the Bubble pretty seamlessly, with users and everything without them missing a beat. And I just want to show you. So this is actually my homepage. So this is actually built in Webflow. Nothing too crazy. It's just a regular website. I kept it on Webflow because Webflow is actually, for a landing page, it's really snappy, and it's really easy to use, and it's flexible enough that you can have it as an entry point on your website, then connect it to many different things. For me personally, I don't like one stack, because say for example, this was built on Bubble. If Bubble went down, no one could log in, right? So if Webflow goes down, sure, no one can log in, but thank God that hasn't happened. All right, so in here, once you log in, here is the app. This is our social network, and very similar to like an Instagram or stuff like that. We got users coming in here, and they're basically posting content, like real estate material things. So one thing they could do on our platform, they could kind of like build content and post it all here, which is pretty nice. So this actually integrates with the tools we had when we first started the company. First started with email marketing, and then it generated to other tools, and they can kind of push those tools directly to the social network. There's a lot of deep tools in here. I've done some pretty cool things like live video chat and things like that. Obviously there's following followers like any other social network. We've also wrapped the app for iOS and Android. So all that's been done in Bubble, which I had to learn pretty much from scratch. I do not have like a tech background per se. When I first started, I just learned along the way. I didn't go to school or anything like this for this. I just dedicated myself to learning, and I saw opportunity, and I just kept on doing it. Yeah.
How did you go about like finding said you have like active users. on
Yeah,
the
this
site.
is the live. So here's live URL. This post is went in about 5:30. So when I first started the company, I had a co-founder who was CTO. So his job was, to execute for the roadmap. My job was the sales and literally talk to the customers. So I would do a lot of cold email, generate lists, market, data and stuff like that. Say, hey, who to target, and I would get meetings with them. And I still do some of that today, basically saying, hey, I think we can help you with your marketing or find out what they're doing. And once I find out what they're doing, if we have it, it's great. If we don't, let's kind of build it or, our way, right? And that's what it was. So when we first started, we wanted to be the MailChimp for the enterprise, but just verticalized for real estate brokerages. And that's literally was our starting point. And there was a huge need for that. But there's also a need for an integrated suite of tools in real estate brokerage, because the problem today is with them is like larger companies, they have like marketing departments, and some of them have like 10 people and it costs a lot of money, but their tools are scattered. So they'll use like a Canva, Illustrator, Adobe, and before the cloud, you couldn't really share these things. So, we said, oh, there's a little gap there. And then we came out with white labeling, and that kind of took off. So when you could white label it, it allowed them to recruit and just talking to customers saying, hey, would you use this? Does it help speed up the process and things like that? Like fast forward today, what we're really doing is enterprise sales are great, but we want to really boost up individuals. Basically, so say if a company doesn't want to purchase it for their whole agents. All right, well, we can still sell directly to the agents. So basically making just like a pure SaaS model for them and making a enriched suite of tools to the agent level. So, we just kind of broke it up that way. And yeah, it's been a big undertaking. Let me show you guys actually like how the two apps talk to each other. So if I go to like here, there's basically like a suite of tools. Now, our app is like two-sided. So we have something like called Brokerage Studio. And what Brokerage Studio is, this is actually where we started. So this is where users would come in and build like emails, print campaigns, social campaigns, and websites. And what we did was we built this navigation, we extended it, and this is the network. So this is actually what actually single signs on into the Bubble application. And actually we have some APIs going back and forth, and some hooks where like a user could sign in from both sides of the app. So if they download the app from the App Store, that's actually Bubble, right? Then we actually have to call our native database and sync those two. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but once we kind of get the hang of it, kind of like on your way. Some cool things we've done here is like kind of really proud of is like this is actually an event doing tomorrow. So I use my platform to actually train users how to use my platform. So I'm hosting an event tomorrow showing how to build email campaigns that stay top of mind. Let's see if we got anybody signed up. Be embarrassed if I don't. But yeah, we got a few people signed up here, which is very nice. And this happens in real time. They could sign up from the app or here. But we have some management tools in here, that I can like manage. I could like send SMSs or direct messages to all the users on the platform. Once it's over, send them a recording and all those things. They can add it to their calendar, things like that. Yeah, just, growing the platform. That's, really what we've been on, and just trying to be a central tool for these guys for their need. So, I guess like my advice is, obviously we have tools, and I think it's easier than ever to build software. So I think we're going to get like a lot of software coming to the market, right? And I think like if I was on the other end, like buying software, like how do I filter that? So, really hone in on maybe like a specific vertical is really, really a good way to get your foot in the door. And, it's just something, I've seen. And if anyone wants to see anything else, let me know. I don't want to just like keep rambling, but yeah, I just want to just give you guys just a little bit of background, and hopefully we can start, sharing some things on upcoming meetups.
Questions?
Yeah, so if I
Yeah.
was a real estate, why would I need that? Why can't I just use MailChimp?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff, why would I have to go ahead and pay $50 a month?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if I worked at like this company, and every real estate company, they're not unique, right? So like Douglas Elliman, Compass, the only unique thing is their brand. So if I own those companies, I want to enforce my brand for every worker working there. So if you say you're going to go to MailChimp, I can't enforce my brand on MailChimp. But if I have a platform, which Brokerloop allows me to enforce my brand, meaning all my templates, then I'll say, hey, agents, it's better to use this, especially if the company pays for it, instead of you coming out your pocket going to MailChimp. So yeah, that's one thing.
Do you think the costs are manageable with the Webflow and Bubble? Do you think they're scaling like the way you want them to as a business gets bigger?
Eventually, I mean, yes, for us, it works out financially and stuff like that. There's things I can do to cut costs with Bubble now. Like if I want to like move my database to AWS and just run it myself, that would be cheaper. Maybe I'll probably get to it next year. We'll see. This is a big undertaking. So right now it's actually in a big migration now. So, you know, I learn things every day. So, you know, I got right on migration, move some tables and things like that around. But yeah, it scales for us today. But if I want to like save even more, that's probably the best way to go because AWS is probably, you know, the best cost savings for data. Yeah. But Bubble does have, you know, their enterprise plans and stuff. They're pretty good. It just depends on where you are, right? So, you know, if you're like pre-revenue and stuff like that, probably not. But if you generate revenue and you know, could hack the cost, it is like an all-in-one package. So you're not managing, you know, each services on AWS, which is nice.
Do you work entirely on this on your own, or do you have?
So this is all me. So yeah, so I do all the no code, and I do have a lead engineer who, like, you know, if I need to hook up some APIs that we don't have already. So all the no code stuff is me. Brokerloop Studio, I'm not a coder. I understand it pretty well, but that's written in TypeScript and Node, which is beyond my pay grade. But yeah, so that's really nice. But any APIs that we need, you know, we just extend it and hook it up in the Bubble, which is nice. I haven't seen a no-code platform. And actually, no, I take that back. They're coming. There's some new things coming that are really nice that you can, you know, hook up any API to and say, hey, you know what, I need this. And then you can point it to your UI and pull the data.
Ads on subways. In the train, there's like an ad for like all the APIs in place. I don't know if anybody else has seen that.
So what, it wraps the APIs and you can just pull from one?
It's an ad on a subway. Like, you know, if it was online, I'd read about it.
Yeah, that's cool too. I think it's a hard job, but you have to normalize all that data, then package it up. It may work some cases, you know. I've been fortunate enough, you know, to kind of just, you know what we need and say, hey, you know, we need this service in here. So like our video conferencing, if you remember, you asked me what I was using, it was 100 MS. Check it out if you want. I think it's a little bit cheaper than daily. So we had the right, you know, API from 100 MS, and that basically logs into like, you know, your video conference environment, aka like a Zoom and things like that. Yeah.
So you're offering this as a white label to construction companies? I mean, not real estate companies?
Not the social networks part. So internally, Brokerloop Studio brands could white label that, but the social network doesn't make sense to white label, right?
So the Brokerloop that you're white labeling, does it include like the CRM?
Yeah, so we kind of like, our goal is to be like a integrated suite of tools. People say all in one, but like, then there's another tool that comes out, then you guys start building that. So kind of want to be careful saying all in one. Yeah, almost all in one, right? So it's one of those things. But we cover a big gamut of pretty much what they need. I do understand that like our users don't want to use software, right? So if you understand that, you got to make it like super easy, and which is nice. But they're picking this up, which is really nice. Actually, I was sitting here, someone just created a group, which I'm gonna, you know, pop in. So we like group, you know, right here. We just launched this group thing, I think a few weeks ago. So basically I got 28 users to join my Brokerloop University group. This one just popped in, this Nest Seekers group, which is nice. You can do like private groups, public groups. So this little guy here, let's see, we have like group chats, you know, you can have posts, you have members, and you can even create like private, I guess, Zoom meetings inside your group. So I'm really hopeful about this once you really, you know, get the word out. So to build all this, I'm still building it, right? But it's out and it's live. But I think I would say like 2 years. Yeah, about 2 years. I started right when COVID started. So I guess a good time because I didn't, nothing else to do but to build. But I had the need, and I just got to it. This was before Bubble's responsive editor, so I had a native app out on the old framework. Then I had to redo it all, and yeah, and actually, there's more work I have to do. So I have like a ton of workflows, and what Bubble doesn't tell you is there's no guide, right? And you're just out there, willy-nilly and almost, oh, you can do this. This doesn't say don't do this. So I don't know how many workflows I have, but I have a lot. And Bubble actually doesn't really run on my machine. So I have to run it with the issue checker off. So anyone knows about that. So, I guess it makes you a better bubbler. I don't know. But yeah, I run it with it off because it just crashes my browser. And now you just kind of they say do reusables. And then I'm gonna have to do all the logic.
So Bubble is basically for the front, and then you have a lead engineer who takes care of the back end. Is that how?
No, Bubble is front and back.
Okay.
But I have existing data and other services that we want to call. So then we will use an API to bring that into Bubble. So when we first started, I had existing users. Like the first task was like, how do we get those users in here, right? So we need a syncing mechanism. So when users sign up, whether from the mobile app, they could go into Broke Loop Studio and they don't lose any data or anywhere around, or payment data, right? So that's a tricky thing to do. So, we had to, figure that out. That was step one. Then once we got that, next task. So I'm like an avid list guy. So I would just go ahead and put everything on a list, and I get like a dopamine when I hit a check off. And I was just like addicted, like bing, bing, bing. And the next thing you know, I was like, man, these are getting down this list. I moved to Trello now, but I just use like Microsoft Notes and stuff like. So like it's horrible. Yeah, good.
What kind of price point are you at for your product, and how many active users?
So we're ranging. I think we're almost about 7,000 active users, which is pretty cool. We got a nice little growth hack. So we've done a lot of work, and I've been in this industry for a bit. So we're part of the Real Estate Board of New York technology, whatever they call it. So we get like all active listing data. So I just like built a tool to basically like ping everybody when they get a new listing, whether you're a user or not, to convert them to be a user. So, we're just starting to, play with that, and then we're gonna be rolling that out pretty soon. So I'm like I'm excited of it. You can't, it's hard to roll these things out because you kind of like, see it for, yeah. So, but the work is done, which is good.
So the tools you're building for brokers on platform, did you build those tools like the CRM, the email stuff? Is that also built on Bubble?
No. So I'll show you what's not built on Bubble, right? So we'll go to Studio, right? And there's like two sides of the platform. So Broke Loop Studio, so we're a full email marketing platform, and we own our own email servers. I use SendGrid for like a backup. So like our email servers are pretty good, but email's email. It's horrible. So we roll our own. Printing, we have like a full editor. So we train like admins and designers to build templates, and they'll build templates for whatever. And they could build a template in an email, a print, a landing page, or a social campaign. And that editor basically just kind of like controls pretty much everything. And printing, they could download PDF, or we have a couple print partners where we can just like ship those off, and and they'll fulfill the order.
It's like the CRM is not like
So CRM
stable in Bubble. It's like a separate service.
Right. So I'll show you here. So like contacts. So here's a real good use case. So let's go back here to the network. And so we have a tool that allows users to scan the QR code and collect contacts. So this is mainly used at their open houses. Normally they'll use like some other apps or pen and pad, which is really bad. So we created this tool just called Open House. And We'll go ahead here and we'll just generate one of these, and they'll scan this QR code. And they'll just answer some questions, and they can, validate the lead. They could put in like custom questions and things like that. And this actually saves to their contacts in the CRM. And then they can go ahead and send up follow-up surveys or follow-up SMSs. So from here, talks back to Studio, and Studio, if they want to move that contact to like an email list, they can go ahead and do that. So, I'm actually really conscious like how it all connects, because like it actually has to all connect for them. So say, for example, this tool didn't have a CRM component. I feel like we fail because someone will have to export this and they will have to use it somewhere else. Same for like, social. So where social play here is agents in this industry, they're very competitive, but it's also a collaborative. So we can go for the same listing, then we can be doing business together on a deal. So that's where the social network comes on. So we can like follow each other and can, very similar like to LinkedIn. And I can see what you're doing. And I say, oh, I have a buyer or a renter for something you just listed. And that's where we are. Yeah.
Sorry, so when a listing comes online, is it associated already with the primary broker?
That's a great question. Yeah. So I can show you right now. So in my account here, let's go back. I should probably have both tabs open, but when I log in, we actually create listings silently in the background for users since we have their data set. So if I go to like my listings tab, this is just my demo account. So we have like a listings control panel. And when a user logs in, especially like for the first time, we have a relationship with their customer or something like that. Well, New York City is really great. It's like almost magic to them because their listings are here. They're like, oh, I don't have to input anything. So anytime you can like pre-seed data for customers is like the best because it's like, oh, great, I can do this. So an agent, like I said, they don't want to use software. So they're like, all right, I don't want to do this, but what can I do? So I'll click a listing, right? Let's click a listing and I'll hit create new. Oh, well, wait a minute, what happened? Like it generated something without, without them having to do much. Then we just show them, hey, there's some editing tools you can do on top of it. So this just generated a postcard, with a few clicks of a button. And they could get more fancy. They can link to your QR code and things like that. Then after that, we kind of go to the extra step, like this targeted functionality. Like if I want to like put in, I don't know, like 117. Let's do this here. Let's see if it finds me some addresses. Maybe it renders or not. I don't know. We'll see. So the idea here is, I think because I'm sharing my screen, the map doesn't render. I don't want to refresh. But what it does is actually finds me addresses, and I can send these postcards to. So like what I really think about intimately is like, how do I do all the heavy lifting for these guys? And because they're going to do this anyway. So if they're going to get a list of recipients, they're going to purchase this list from somewhere, they're going to load it into some place or some print shop. And that's a lot of heavy lifting. And if they're really good at their job, they're doing this multiple times a year. So, we're like, all right, let's just streamline this whole process. Then we do it for a whole company. Then it's like, all right, great. This is how we can just get a repeatable process. All right. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Awesome.
All right. Let's make sure I share my screen here.
I can also like go navigate to what page you want to present.
Yeah. All right, so we have Rae here, who is the head of content for Glide, again, the sponsor for the meetup. And Rae, do you want to put this on?
Actually,
Your search bar. And then
it's like
yeah,
flip on.
you can just click on. You just use my browser to open on pages and stuff, but I have your
Yeah, awesome. Okay. I'll keep it short because this is really a night just for you guys to connect and get to know each other. But we're super excited to be sponsoring tonight and to help support this movement. And that's really what we think of it as. Like no code is often kind of poo-pooed or kind of like talked about as like the baby software or something that's not as powerful. And we truly believe, like after having worked in Silicon Valley and meeting lots of folks who really view it as like software creation as a cabal and gatekeep technology, we truly believe that the next wave of the next billion creators of software are going to be using no code tools. And we want to be a part of that movement. This is like a slight provocation, but we do believe that like, and this is a new thesis, but in the last month or so, we've seen that like we want to orient away from the term no code because we don't think it's accurate. We were founded in 2019. Our founders, David, Mark, they were part of YC. And that was kind of the term du jour back then. But what we've really seen is that it's more of AI assisted or AI generative software creation. We're reaching an inflection point, we believe, where people or human intelligence can now be augmented by things like ChatGPT, where you can actually get help as you're creating software. So it's not like no code is kind of a cheap label because it's much more powerful than that. We're seeing it gain momentum. If you guys have been tracking our feed or what we've been building, and we're quite public about all the things we ship, we just integrated our support with ChatGPT. So I'd love to like demo. I don't know if I can do this, Alan, maybe you can help me out, but you can go to glideapps.com. And we were cheeky with it. We like made it look like a Google page to begin with, but you can go to search and you can ask it anything. Like we integrated this with ChatGPT, so you can ask it like, how do I don't know, what's something you guys would want to build? Like what's a business idea? We could be like a real, not to take the win from your sales, like build me a real estate. How about like a CRM?
Build me a CRM.
Yeah, build me a CRM. Let's see what it says. And this is very new. Like we shipped this like a couple of weeks ago, so it still has bugs. It'll be like, I can't build it for you, but here's a template for a CRM so you can get started. You can like simple company, and we're gonna build this out so it has different things, right? It'll be like CRM for real estate or like for construction. Yeah, this is like high pressure because it might crash right now. Build me a real estate company. But let's see what it says.
Thinking.
Sometimes it's slow. Okay, here's some templates for a real estate company. Okay. Or do you want to build a real estate agency? So those are just some quick examples, but this is just like the test, like mini test one of what we're building, which is that you eventually will be able to like, this will be your command center and you can ask it to like, build me a button. And you probably actually ask it that already, and it'll like spit out elements. And that's like the direction we're moving to. So we are really doing ourselves a disservice by calling this no code because it is something much more powerful. Build me a button. I don't know what it's gonna say. Oh, cool. Okay, you can, yeah. So this is just support right now, but we're gonna integrate it into the entire platform. And the moment that humans can like strap in and create software without needing to go to a boot camp or even to like consult docs, like that's a huge step change in software creation. How do I get back to Patrick Collinson? Okay, so one of the strange facts about the world is how hard it is for organizations to build good software. They can reliably turn capital into nice headquarters, a great fleet of cars, a nice advertising campaign, but for whatever reason, they can't turn capital into good software. And this is the co-founder and CEO of Stripe, Patrick. I don't know if you guys are fans of Stripe. Like sometimes it can be difficult to use, but he is a very smart person. And what I love about this is it's this idea that like, it's really been challenging to kind of track human progress. Like there's been a lot of funding that's like flooded the rounds. Obviously it's a little different now with the bear market, but turning capital into good software is really, really hard. And we're trying to do that for the next billion creators of software. So that's our mission at at Glide. And I'd like to take you guys on what we have in store for our product roadmap. If you guys, any of you guys familiar with Glide? Have any of you guys used it? Oh, some of you guys have? Okay. Would love some feedback later, but we are doing an apps to pages transition. So we're going to sunset apps and we're going to be relaunching pages, which is all focused around adaptive design so that you have a beautiful experience from desktop to mobile without having to code anything new. So you can imagine that your app could live on mobile and you could ship that to your customers without doing any additional work. We're going to scale our row limit to 10 million rows, so you don't have to import or manage anything from a spreadsheet. It's all going to be native to the platform. We're going to increase the integrations, including more work on ChatGPT. And we're also adding more automations and an improved action editor. So this is kind of an aside, but this is all to say that we are hugely focused on design at Glide and making your apps look beautiful. Like, it's very hard to make something, this is something our customer said, it's really hard to make something that looks ugly in Glide. And just the way that the human eye has evolved with taste and aesthetics over the past 10 years, like our standard for excellence in how software looks just keeps getting higher and higher. And most software gets worse with time, but our hope is that software made with Glide gets better over time. So your apps just get more and more beautiful. And that's kind of an example of it. It's just some examples of some of that adaptive design. But yeah, we're just excited to be part of this movement and part of this mission. And we want to support everyone here who believes in no code and want you guys to maybe think about using a different term. And everyone here can try our business plan 14 days for free and give us feedback on whether you hate it. All right, thanks.
Questions for Rae? Yeah. Who do you think Glide is for? Even if you guys didn't think that way.
Yeah, we just launched this beautiful publication that features a lot of our customers, in case you're curious about who's building in Glide. It's everyone. It's this girl, Alexis, her family founded a restaurant group, Burgatory. I don't know if any of you guys have been to the Pittsburgh area, but they've been around for generations, and she took over the family business. And when she took over the HR function, she was like, this is all manual. We can't hire for our locations. She spun up their own ATS and employee portal within a month. And now it's powering their entire hiring system. And the examples and use cases we haven't even anticipated, PGA America, the golf tournament organizer, they use it to organize their tournaments. People have started agencies around it and sell it to other customers. I would say Oscar and his father, they're a father-son duo in the UK, and they founded it and they have 3x their revenue since they started 3 years ago. Jesus Vargas is down in Miami and he has a 14-person team. They're building Glide apps for customers. So we're seeing more and more of this behavior, which we didn't anticipate, which is people using it to sell to other businesses. They're interesting. They're a emergency communications response provider. So when you push a button in a hospital to call a nurse, or when schools need there's an active shooter situation, that's all automated through Glide now, and they're now selling it to other communication software providers. So that we're actually seeing them disrupt their own industry, which is interesting. Yeah, and it just goes on and on. So yeah. Any other questions? I hope that all of you guys get your hands in it and give us some feedback.
Databases included,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I see one technical challenge.
Oh, there are a ton. Big light tables is one about scaling to 10 million rows. It's really technically difficult. It's a non-negligible amount of engineering effort to get it to do that reliably without breaking. So we shipped that today, and that was a huge. Thank you. And I don't know if you guys have been tracking the Apple updates, but Apple just allowed push notifications from non-app store apps.
Really?
So within 4 hours, our team built that out as a capability for our customers, and it's gonna be ready in a month. So
It's like PWAs, you can get pushed. Is that what you're saying?
So previously you couldn't, like, if you weren't in the app store, which is a lot of like work apps or internal apps, you couldn't push and like send a push notification.
Correct.
And they just reversed or like updated that so that you can. And so our team was on it and we're rolling out to our customers soon. So
Sorry, does that mean there's no need for native apps anymore? We can just do, PWAs.
I'm not sure. Let me give you an answer on that. I don't want to give you a wrong answer.
I have one more question. It's actually for everybody in the room. Does anybody know of something that allowed AR, augmented reality within the no-code space? Does that exist?
What do you mean by that exactly?
So like our friend's real estate app would be really cool. You could walk around, with your hold your phone and like walk around the apartment and see how it would look. Or, take a few steps, assuming you're not going to bump into any more in your existing place, see what it would be like.
It's like what I love about your idea is like the human imagination is like limitless. Like presumably you could layer that on top of infrastructure built on no code. That's really hard. Like our team would have to like spend a lot of time building out AR functionality, which isn't a priority for us right now, but it's like if that was a burning use case for your business, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you could build it on top of it. So yeah.
I just want to share a testimony. I'm friends with certified image. I learned look at this slide.
Oh, amazing.
I learned look at the slide in France. You have a huge community of 35 of your products. And I run a media and a newsletter for bicycle culture. And Glide is so powerful if you need to just push a tiny product to help people.
Yeah, we have a lot of French users for some reason, and we want to do more in France. I know that No Code Paris is coming up. So I would love to talk to you about that. There's a lot of French farmers, for example, that use Glide to power their farms, which there's a lot of this emergent behavior that we just don't quite understand yet, but we're happy that it's happening.
I was asking about the apps to pages transition. So what does that mean exactly? Like would your Glide app just be a series of pages?
It's just terminology. I think it's like a naming convention. If you followed like, it's kind of meaningless unless you've been along with us on this journey, because we used to have an option when you created an app, you could choose apps or pages, and now you only have one option, which is pages, but it's the more powerful version. So.
You can use Glide to build web and native apps or.
That's right. I don't want to take up too much time, but you guys are awesome and we hope to sponsor more of these in the future. So yeah, thanks for time.
Thank you.
All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for coming. There's some drinks in the back, and the rest of the time just